Dear viewers, welcome to this episode of Your Life, Your Money. Many things in financial planning can be done with the help of experience. You go through the life experience and you can do it with the help of experience. There are things where you will never get an experience of and you have to solve that puzzle. Two things where you never get an experience is what happens after my death and what happens if I were to live too long. You never get an experience of it. God forbid, if death were to be there in anyone's life, early in part of life, what consequences your families will go through? What consequences will follow in case God has selected you to live too long? It's not a simple question. It has several ramifications into it. Unless you understand these consequences deeply, your planning can become faulty. In this episode, I'm going to take you through what consequences will follow and how you can prepare yourself ahead of time. This is NRI Money Clinic for you, and I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, your financial guide for a happy living.
NRI Money Clinic. No hype, just the right advice.
Let's look at our life a little bit in detail. For the first quarter of your life, I would think that the life expectancy to be 100 years. Not many people live there, absolutely right. But the first 25 odd years, you have the support of your parents. It's parents who take care of you. You have nothing to worry about money. Then comes a phase wherein which you start earning. You're not dependent on parents. Life goes on normal till the day you retire, which is approximately 60 years of age. Some people may retire early, some people may retire slightly later. That's the way the life goes. Then you have a retired life, and at the fag end, 75, 80, 85, 90 years, depending on what plan God has for you, you will exit this world and natural death will follow. This is a normal way the life goes on. Now, for everyone, it is not going to be the life which is going to be normal. I'm doing this video because something which disturbed me in the last week. One day when I get up, I get a message from one of my clients, and extremely painful thing. He says he lost his son-in-law at the age of 32 years. That made me think a lot. Daughter is just 29 years, son-in-law is 32 years, hale and healthy, just that he didn't get up in the morning. And it is such a disturbing news. It's not one of event that we get to hear. During the last 10-15 years, we have seen countless cases of similar incidents being reported. Why it happens, we do not know. But the way I look at as a financial planner is, it's a reality of life. You cannot brush it under the carpet. You have to actively discuss this and prepare people for the consequences in case, God forbid, such an event were to be there in anyone's life. When we talk about death, nobody likes to talk about death. But the unfortunate thing is we need to discuss this and we just can't push it under the carpet. So what if such a thing were to happen in somebody's life? The entire planning will go for a toss. If somebody were to die early in life, the pertinent question to ask is, who will take care of my family? I have exited this world, whereas my family, which is my wife, children, dependents, who will take care of them? It's a simple question to ask, but a difficult question to answer. When you start probing into it, then you will see the complexity of the problem. You should write down each and everything that can go wrong in such an incident. You want to know more about it? Think for a while. What if you had not got up in the morning today? God is very kind to you. You are lucky. You're watching this video. You are very lucky. What if you had not got up today morning? What are the consequences that will follow? Write it down and put a financial value against this. The first thing is, if you have a spouse, the loss of a life partner is an unbearable pain for the spouse. You may have an excellent, analytical minded, sensible spouse, but the loss of a life partner is an unbearable pain. And I have seen how people will completely go out of sync when they lose a life partner. What you think that my spouse can do A, B, C things, that they just can't do it. And people make mess of that such a situation. How will she live? Do you have young children? What are they going to do if such a situation were to happen? The problem is just not that. Many people, when we talk about insurance planning for them, they come with very simple answers. If I were to die, my wife will start a job and she will start earning. Is it as simple as it looks? Look, if you are earning and your wife is at home, and there are young children, she is not working, asking her to work at that point of time is a cruel joke. It may happen or it may not happen. That's a distinct possibility. And with that pain, it is not going to be like, oh, my husband is not living, so I'll go to my work. That's not the way the life treats. It takes at least 1 to 2 years for her to come out of that particular pain and take grip of the situation, assuming that she is well educated, she has the capability to handle the situation. But in most families I've seen, it's not as simple as it looks like. What happens to your children? Where are they going to get educated? You and your spouse had a dream for your children. Should those dreams be sacrificed because of this unfortunate event? What preparations you have done? What if you had the liabilities? You have a car for which you have to pay. You have purchased a property for which EMIs have to be paid, and you have liabilities for the rent and various other things. Where will that money come from? The money that you have, is it adequate for you? What if your wife were to earn? Will she earn the same amount of salary as you are getting, and she can continue life as if that nothing has happened? It's just not possible. Think about another consequence. What if you have met with an accident? In the accident, both you and your wife are crippled because of the accident. One loses life and another just can't get up from the bed, can't go to job. Who will take care of your child? We have seen these things happening in the lives of a lot of people. We have experience of how people will completely mess up their life just because of one incident which has not been anticipated. It's time for you. Please write down today, what would have happened if I have not got up today morning? Write down all consequences. Who will take your children to the school? If you were to be living in another country, what happens? How will your mortal remains be brought back home? Can your wife stay there without an income? Can she find a job in that particular country? Where will you come back? Is your spouse comfortable with the in-laws? Does she have a house to stay? All these things will have economic consequences. Go through this exercise. Write down A, B, C, D, 8, 10, 15, 20 points, whatever you think of, and put an economic, financial number against this. This will be the economic consequences, and find out whether you have got so much of an insurance. So don't buy next time when you're trying to buy an insurance. Don't buy it just like, 1 crore of insurance, 2 crores of insurance. Your insurance should be calculated. How much do I need? These are my calculations. Just because you have exited this world to say that my wife can live with 15,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees is playing a cruel joke. One another problem which complicates is that most women do not take interest in the family finances. Their ability to handle finances is very, very minimalistic. I'm not telling about their capabilities. I'm telling their orientation, and they do not have an experience. When the life partner leaves, what happens? They come under the pressure of family, friends, colleagues, bank managers, wealth desk. When they get some insurance, everybody has a plan for them. And I have seen, in spite of doing a great insurance planning, people have messed up their life within 1 to 2 years because the wife lost all that money. Therefore, it is not a very simple question. What if I were to die, and who will take care of my family? It has to be addressed in all the details. It's just not that you should tell your wife, look, these are the preparations I have made. These are the way you have to handle the situation. You should also tell your wife what not to do, whom not to trust, and how she has to conduct life beyond this particular point. Remember, your life and an aircraft have many similarities. Both have immense possibilities. An aircraft is over designed for safety. Why? Because if there were to be an accident, it cannot be retrieved. Therefore, all possible ways an aircraft can come down is pre-calculated. All measures are taken, and aircraft has been made into one of the safest modes of transport. Your life is no different. It moves fast, prone for accident. If accidents were to be there, I'm not telling you physical accidents, all kinds of accidents, then the consequences are very difficult, and it's difficult to retrieve many a time. Your life too also needs to be over-designed for safety. When you buy that insurance, you should calculate all consequences, sit with the planner, think what might go right, what might go wrong, and don't handle this buying insurance with a kid's gloves. Look at all serious things which can happen, put a number, and then go ahead and put in that insurance plan. Let us try to find an answer for the other question for which you don't have an experience. What if I were to live long? What if I am the lucky one God has selected to live long? How long? 80, 85, 90 or beyond. Are there consequences with it? Yes, the answer is you have consequences of living too long. It looks very nice to say that I live long, but the events which will follow will tell you it's not going to be all that comfortable when you analyze the consequences of living too long. How are you prepared? Number one, you retire at 60. You get a big chunk of money, your provident fund, gratuity, retirement benefit, maturity of some plans. You've got all that money at 60 years of age. You feel very happy. What do most people do? When they get this big chunk of money, they go on revenge spending. They buy the properties. They spend money on unwanted things, be it the jewelry, going on too much of travel, spending here, there, renovating the house, changing the house. They do all the things. I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong, but you should know the consequence of it. If I analyze the life of a lot of retired people, what happens is at 60, they get a big chunk of money. By 65, 5-6 years later, they would have spent a great deal of money in many things which they could have avoided. Spending too much on marriages of children, unfinished responsibilities of children. These days, people get married late, have children late, as a result of which, by the time they retire, they have unfinished responsibilities for children, and they use the money which is coming as a retirement benefit to clear off these unfinished responsibilities. All these things will have consequences. When you do a revenge spending, it looks nice, but it drives a big hole in your retirement corpus. You will not feel it because you have other sources of money at this point of time. If you have a pension, it gives you a cash flow. It's a nice one to have a pension. It does not have a reinvestment risk. Most likely you have a joint life pension. But the problem with pension is that it will not adjust itself to the rise in purchase cost. The inflation brings down the purchase price of annuity. I'm not suggesting anyone not to use the annuity. I'm a great proponent of buying something which gives you a fixed income during your retirement days. It's a must-have thing. But also know the consequences that when you have a fixed income over a longer period of time, slowly but steadily it erodes the purchase price. So you need to be doing something to make sure that it will not create a problem. You will also be meeting a lot of friends between 60-65 years. You travel a lot and you might end up losing a lot of money. You are youthful. At 60 years of age, you are not somebody who is very old, your bones are cracking, you can't move around. No, you are still fit and fine. You can move on your own. You don't need a great deal of help from family, friends, or anyone else. You and your spouse can still travel. You can go all the way up to 75 years of age. Because you don't have a job, you have got money, you will use this money during this particular period. And chances are that unless you know what you are doing, you might deplete your retirement corpus. 65 years later, you see the missing notes in the music of life. What is that? One thing you realize that is your retirement corpus is depleting. You are overspending beyond your means. You have been careless about your money. Your children would have moved to some other city, some other part of the world. I won't say that your children will not take care of you. By this time, they would have moved to another city, another country, another part of the world. That's perfectly normal. While if they have good amount of money as an income, they might help you financially. But what if they were to struggle? They have an inclination to help you. What if they are not financially sufficient enough to meet their own life? And they are young, they are aspirational, they have their dreams. And a burden of parents on them is a cruel joke that gets played out on them. Not everybody who lives in US or everybody who lives in Europe or in Middle East are financially very comfortable. Not many of them. Many of them just live in hand-to-mouth kind of a life. So don't blame your children because they are not able to spare some money for you. At the same time, it is natural that they can't stand by your side. They have to manage their life. It's obvious that they move to another part of the life, which creates a problem of loneliness for you as you live longer and longer. Till about 70, 75 years of age, you are healthy, you are able to move around, you have your friends, your spouse is around, you have a company to manage, you still have a certain amount of money. But when you cross 70 years of age, what happens is that there is a lot of health issues will start appearing. It's a natural progression. So we can't be at the same level till we exit this world. That's not possible. So there will be diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. There could be any kind of an issue. Normal aging things can take over from there. So beyond 75 years of your age, it's expected that the spouse is likely to leave at some point of time. It's not possible for everyone to leave along with their spouse. That happens only in the marriage mandap to say that I'll stay with you, but it's a law of nature that one leaves first, the other leaves later. If wife were to leave earlier, it creates a set of problems. Husbands cannot adjust. It's obvious that when the wife leaves early, it is expected that the husband will leave within next 1, 2, 3 years. This is what's going to happen in most families. This is my observation. Whereas if husband leaves first and wife stays back, or she leaves beyond this point, which is obvious, this is what data shows, it throws another set of problems. Then she will become dependent on family, friends, her inability to handle money on her own. All these things can become a challenge. So it's not as simple as it looks like. So living too long is a good thing to celebrate, but it comes with its baggage of the consequences that will follow. So it becomes lonely. You have the risk of losing money. You have your children living in another part of the world. You cannot complain. That's obvious. That's the way it is going to be like. If you're lucky enough, your children might help you financially, but you cannot expect it from them. What stage of life they are in, what kind of a spouse they get it. All these things are a matter of if. So you have to prepare yourself. Unless you ask these questions, unless you observe in the lives of so many retirees, you will not get an inkling. The only obvious choice for you to prepare yourself well is work with the financial planners who have great experience of observing the retired life, helping a lot of retirees, learning from what worked and what doesn't work in many of the retired life. That is where you can get help from. If you are somebody who is looking out for an help to solve these puzzles of what happens with the consequences if I were to leave early or if I were to leave too long, you can make best use of services provided by NRI Money Clinic. We understand these issues in all its intricacies very well. We have a team of experts on the ground who can help you solve this particular puzzle. If you need any help, all that you have to do is reach out to us through WhatsApp message on the number that is given in the description box below. We have provided a link over there. Click on the link, it takes you to the WhatsApp. Send us the exploratory message and what help you need, and we are ever ready to help you with the services that you might need. Why delay? Send that message now. There are many risks which will play out during your retired life, which you do not know, which you cannot expect, which you have no experience of. Reinvestment is a risk. Health is a risk. Departure of spouse is a risk. Not having ability to handle money is a risk. Inability to analyze is a risk. Problems of forgetfulness, dementia, Alzheimer's is a point of risk. And one another risk which is emerging, which is real, which is deadly, is rise in the cost of services. When you move to the other end of the life, when you become lonely, when you become weak because of your health, you need services, and you may need nurse, you may need domestic help, you may need serviceman to take care of most of the things probably what you would have normally done. Those service costs will go on the rise. On this side, on your financial side, if you're reckless, if you're careless, then your retirement corpus keeps dropping and it can create a dynamite of a problem. Therefore, it is said age between 60 to 75 is called the golden years of life, where you have got money, you have got health, and you can do whatever you want. If you are able to exit this world by that age, probably you could be one of the very lucky ones to live on your terms. But none of us have got that ability to dictate how long we can live. But for people who live beyond 75, age between 75 to 85 is called the bonus years. You could be still healthy, you may still have money. So your bonus years are 75 to 85. If you live beyond 85, it's going to be a curse. A curse on you, a curse for the people who take care of you. But none of us have a control on any of these things. What we can control is how we prepare ourselves. Dear viewers, hope the video that I have done helped you to understand the consequence of dying early or living too long, and it would have given you a thought in your mind to prepare yourself well ahead of time in case such a thing were to be there in your life. If it helped you to understand the consequences of these two problem areas, please do give me a thumbs up. And by the way, your subscription matters for for us. And there are a lot of you who watch my videos, appreciate, give me a thumbs up, but forget to subscribe. If you haven't done that subscription of our channel till now, please hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon. Do not forget to share these videos with your near and dear ones, friends and relatives, and on all the WhatsApp groups on which you are connected with. Thank you very much for watching this episode on NRI Money Clinic. I shall be back with you with yet another thought on your life, your money next Friday. Till then, stay safe. Jai Hind.
Press the bell icon for more details and subscribe our channel.